I'm your host, James Willems, and I'm joined by my co-host, Elyse Willems. I don't know what we're talking about
The
today.
vibe is.
Oh.
That's not a series.
It is a series playlist.
No. I mean, you can playlist it. You can try to put a name on it, but
you
it's
can't.
not. It's just a vibe.
You can't do the vibe.
I'm not married. I don't think kids say vibe anymore either. So
Are
I
we trying to
think
say
that-
what kids say? You know
No,
what kids say?
but
They
you
go
want something in
gaga
the
goo goo.
popular discourse. I would say that that's probably not.
What's popular now?
I honestly don't. Skibbity. The skibbity is.
The problem is I don't get involved with any of the trends because I don't believe they're going to stick around long enough because the internet culture means it moves too fast. Like you used to be able to get something stupid but you'd run with it for at least a year and a half, like Pogs or something.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be something dumb that came along, but you'd run with it for at least a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even more, and that was like a silly trend. But like even when they did like the fidget spinners, I was like, no, this is gonna be gone, and it was in 6 months.
Yeah,
it was
those
gone.
there are trends and there are fads. And fads are those very ephemeral, fast, like a lightning flash.
Yeah.
They come, they're popular.
My career.
They get a lot of traction behind them for a very brief moment. And then trends are a little bit more. They can be
That's
cyclical
why you
because
inject them and it makes your muscles big.
That's
Trends. I thought you were saying something
trends
different.
can go in and out of fashion.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little bit more of a longer tail.
I think you're supposed to put
So-
them in the fascia.
I would say a fad is maybe what you're thinking of for a fidget spinner.
Yeah, and I'm saying sometimes the language is more of a fad than it is a trend. Right? Like, I don't think anyone's going to be skibbitying. People already stopped dabbing.
Yeah, I would say certain language are like groovy. You know, this is the language of the 70s. And I think things just are quicker now because of the internet. We pick something up, we put it down quicker.
Mm-hmm.
It takes things less time to reach places because of globalization, whereas it took a longer time, so it had a longer tail.
Yeah.
But
I still say cowabunga every single day when I get out of bed. So
I was looking, speaking of trends, I was looking at the trending and popular gaming section of YouTube. And it's all Fortnite.
yeah.
It's all Fortnite, and it's so interesting to see because I think, obviously, 8 years ago, when Fortnite was still its original
You mean the
game type,
the
zombie wave,
yes,
and
horde based.
it wouldn't have been there. But also, it's not a knock against Fortnite. I don't mean it that way, but I wish there was more variety. I wish we looked at the gaming tab on YouTube and we saw interesting, I wish it was more of a discovery feature for interesting in a variety of
Yeah, I mean,
things.
I think some of it is because Fortnite has designed itself to be everything.
Yes,
Like,
and your boy pointed out they just had the Juice World event. So
Yeah.
everyone's reacting to
yeah.
that.
So it's like the fact that they can make Fortnite anything means that again, it's the new third space or whatever.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people go and they
It's a
hang out
social
on Fortnite.
platform, essentially.
Yeah.
Got a little tiny hair in your chin.
Oh no.
But not the kind.
Oh, it's not growing out of me. Yeah, I completely agree. I understand, but it's frustrating.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't mean it as a knock against the game or anything.
I still, you don't watch as much YouTube as I watch.
I don't. Yeah, I
But
really don't.
I still, the thing that kills me about YouTube, and I know this may not be what you're intending to talk about, but the thing that kills me about YouTube is how much the homepage is like prioritized. Like I subscribe to channels, but if they upload like weekly or anything more frequently than that, and I don't watch it as soon as it uploads, it will never get served to me unless I go to my subscriptions page and look at it. Like, there's channels that I love, but it's like, oh, I was on vacation that week, or I just didn't watch the video or whatever, and it's gone. Like, the homepage feels like it can only encompass me in 3 topics. Mm-hmm. So it'll be like bodybuilding or fitness product reviews, fighting, like right now it's Mortal Kombat stuff because I was watching all the Ghostface stuff, and then like one other third topic, and I'll just scroll through and I go, all of these are only from the 3 topics. Like I'm not really discovering anything.
Yeah, it was interesting because your YouTube algorithm is doing exactly to you what the internet audience does, which is reducing you to your
They put me in a bucket.
three defining buckets. So for you, I'd say it's like fitness, fitness. What are your like buckets? Fitness,
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface Killer, the rapper though.
Yeah.
Fitness, Psychonauts.
I don't get served any Psychonauts anything.
Well, I'm
so I
saying
guess
like
not.
your.
Oh, you mean how do people?
How do people?
They go pro wrestling,
yeah.
weightlifting, and yeah, I don't know what the third one is.
Handsome.
No, I don't think that's a thing.
For me, it's like Muppets, obviously.
Okay. Well, Robbie Williams. Anytime there's new Robbie Williams news, people send me that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I think we need to mix it up. There's more there, but I know that's not what we were going to talk about. But
There's more there. Well,
trending gaming is a waste.
Speaking of trends, though, what we are talking about is Jawmaxxing.
Is that I had you mentioned something, so that's why I made the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Jawmaxxing.
Jawmaxxing.
Something that I knew a little bit about, and then you and I listened to a podcast about, and now I know too much about.
Well, it's interesting because I'm well aware of mewing in the beauty sphere of women's beauty, of like if you have a double chin, you'll eliminate it by mewing, which is the placement of the tongue in your mouth and trying to do things like this or like this, or to try to like sculpt the perfect face, theoretically different jaw and face exercises you can do. And then now or I guess not now, but over time it has since permeated into like male attractiveness.
Yeah, it's
Jawmaxxing.
It's tied to idealistic masculine features of the face, and then preying on the insecurities of those that don't have those exact features.
Young men and boys and stuff. Yeah, which is depressing to me.
It is depressing.
It's depressing.
Here's my thing, which is the name of my podcast. Here's the thing. I don't trust myself. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't believe that I know everything. I'm the kind of person who, when I'm going to email a very close friend who I've known for 10 years, I'll double check that I'm spelling their last name right. Because I don't trust my perception.
The human
of
brain
reality.
is not infallible.
No, because we're just a bunch of cells that are all trying to work together with other cells that then send electricity to different parts of me to interpret it.
So how does that connect to Jawmaxxing?
The fact that someone thinks they got it. They figured it out. We know anatomy. We have all this science on how the body grows and develops, and then someone comes along and go, but actually, this one person said this. So I'm going to start mewing.
So you're talking about just various pseudosciences.
Yeah, pseudoscience in general is strange to me because it presumes that you're like, oh, and I get it. I think it preys on people who are looking for either a cheat code or a faster track or something that isn't just like, sorry, that's your chin. Like, sorry, that's your chin. Unless you want to have plastic surgery or something, that's kind of it. I don't know. That stuff, I just don't. We did a React thing recently where I did a bunch of React to different Mandela effect things. And I would see the two options, one being the real one and one being the false one. And I would say the false one looks right, but then I would pick the other one because I just assumed I was wrong.
Because you're metagaming it. Yeah.
I'm not even.
Well, you are essentially meta because you're looking at the meta aspect, which is, well, if I think that one's right, it probably isn't. So this one is probably That's you're approaching it from
it's sourced in I understand my own my own fallibility.
Yes.
Right. Which is how I approach almost all of life.
The human brain is so susceptible to persuasion,
Yeah.
to being wrong. Your memory is too. We talked about this so much on 30 Morbid Minutes.
Yeah.
With people when it comes to ghosts, or you think you have a paranormal experience, or just memory in general, because our memories are so untrustworthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, Armin pointed out in chat that my entire face changed after losing weight.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that can change your appearance, but there's so much in the beauty industry that is predicated on snake oil salesmen. Now it's techniques, and like I never really know. Like I'll see products, and I'm like, I usually go to Reddit because I'm like, I want to know like what a real person's experience
Where
is with
people
this.
only say the truth.
Yes.
Reddit.
Yeah, which is still even a problem.
Yeah.
But I want to know that a real person used this thing and had a good experience with that. But even so, what might work for one other person doesn't necessarily work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of beauty products where like person's like, this cured my acne, and another person says this made me break out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Tank said we had a whole Mandela effect episode on 30 Minutes. Yeah, we did. But yeah, it's Jawmaxxing to me is just kind of, it's just in the new version of like, I always think about these infomercials in the 90s for, it was this belt that you would buy and then you would wear. And I feel like it was like marketed more at men.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a belt, and then it had a sensor on the front of it. And the whole idea was like, you have to constantly just have your gut sucked in.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you relax your stomach, it goes off.
Oh, interesting.
So the whole thing is just like, the idea of like getting abs is tied to just having your gut sucked in all day, or a sensor will be like, "Rah."
Here's the only thing I'm going to say from that one, is that a lot of people aren't aware of their body at most times of the day, and especially if you don't do things to strengthen your core, then you don't know how your core feels when you're sitting or whatever. That thing is a snake oil, but the only benefit that it could be,
it makes you aware of your posture.
It makes you think about it, which is 90% of fad dieting too. When people go like, oh, Atkins worked for me, or keto worked for me, or all these things worked for me, 99% of that, despite some of the individuals that their biological structure benefits from that, 99% of that comes from the fact that you just started looking at nutrition labels. You can't just grab a handful of any bowl of whatever thing is in front of you, because it might not adhere to your standards. So it's natural that as soon as you take half a second to think about what you're putting in your mouth, you're more likely to eat less or better or differently. So things are going to change. So
Liam says gorilla food diet worked for me.
I don't know what that is. What's gorilla food diet? Is it just like eating bugs and stuff? That was one of my favorite things, as I remember.
I think it's maybe a fake thing that Liam made up.
That was great, and you could probably make $1 billion if you marketed it.
James once went to a doctor that told him to go on the Snickers diet.
Well, the whole story is...
I can't hear the whole story for the 20th time. I'm sorry.
Okay, well...
So you have to tell a truncated version. I've heard it so many times.
About to lose health insurance, decided I should go to a doctor to make sure I wasn't going to die. Found a doctor that had okay reviews or whatever. It's really hard to find good doctors. Went in, said, why are you here? You're in great shape. Don't need to worry about anything. Went to leave the room. Felt good about myself. Stopped at the doorway. Turned around and went, have you ever thought about the Snickers diet? Maybe you could lose a few pounds, which was basically only eating Snickers.
And then you learned.
I Googled him. That is something he's associated with, and he went on some sort of public access show to talk to the host about it, and the host who looked like they were on the verge of death said, I've been on the Snickers diet for a week and I'm loving it. That's
What
it.
fruit do silverback gorillas eat? Berry, banana, and guava fruits.
What I remember, one of my favorite things was someone in my dorm once posted, and listen, I want to make something clear. Vegetarianism and veganism is awesome if that's what works for you. I love it. But they were like very much, they posted a thing that was, if gorillas can be this strong and big by eating fruits and veggies, why can't you? Mm-hmm. And again, me Googling things, I don't ever trust my perception. I was like, well, I think you're leaving out the fact that gorillas eat like 4,000 pounds of bugs every single day, and their entire digestive system is built around harvesting the nutrition system. Anyway,
Devin,
yeah,
have you thought about getting on horse electrolytes?
Yep, absolutely. That's electrolytes pulled from horses, not ones for horses.
Now, there was a period of my life in the early 2000s when I did use mane and tail shampoo and conditioner.
I did too.
Can we Google mane and tail shampoo and conditioner, please? Are everybody familiar with this product? This is a shampoo that the whole crux of the shampoo was that it is good. Well, actually, I don't know so much about it. My understanding was that it's good for people and for animals. But let's can we get deeper into the history of mane and tail here?
I don't know what history.
Products. Maybe mane and tail. Oh, they're selling. Okay.
Oh, don't worry about that. They're having probably Black Friday on mane and tail. My mentality
so maybe
with mane
Discover. Go to Discover there.
There he is, George Maine, and his partner Thomas Tail. My thing was, I thought, number one, it's a shampoo and conditioner all in one. I didn't have any money, so that's good. And then my other thought was, if it's good enough for a horse, it's good enough for me.
Oh, there's a typo.
Where?
Wanted to create a shampoo taught would help their horses achieve show-stopping mane and tails.
That's fine. We'll let them know.
From horse stall to shower stall. Horse to Huma? Why are there so many typos on the mane and tail website? I should say horse to human.
No, I mean, Huma is a specific kind of horse. Now, here's the thing: do you trust mane and tail with your hair health?
I did at one point.
If you see these typos.
No, because I
made a skeet earlier today where I used the wrong form of then. Than, because no one ever uses then, and this is the one time. Now I'm upset about it.
Here's the question: You ready
to
are we more because this has typos? Are we more or less likely to think that this isn't AI?
Less. Yeah. So AI would never have a typo like Huma instead of human, or Tahat. That's definitely typed by someone.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Well, fallibility of man.
Yeah, exactly. Right here.
That's why we have AI, and I'm like, can't AI just read what I'm typing in and be like we have grammar word processors, and it'd be like, you misspelled this word wrong, or here's a grammar thing, even though you're speaking phonetic, you're typing things to be phonetic as opposed to being like a robot. And I'm like, can you read the whole thing and be like, I think you're using the wrong form of than. That's what I want. That's what we need AI for, god damn it. Not making our art.
Well, we recently
I'm heated.
Learned about Jawmaxxing is that the history of mewing can be traced to an orthodontist named John Mew.
Who I was calling Mike Mew, and then you were like, hey, his name's John Mew, I just don't want you embarrassing yourself. And
when you talk about Jawmaxxing and other people, I don't want you to make a fool of yourself. Oh. So he should have an amazing jaw. Right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I believe it's Mike Mew. Mike Mew is the guy. So I was right. Mike Mew is the guy who popularized mewing based off his father or grandfather's research.
John Mew.
John Mew was the original orthodontist who was like, he's the one who experimented on his kids.
He's the founder of orthotropics and mewing.
Yeah. But it was Mike Mew that made it like the internet thing. That the reason we do mewing now. But he was
it says named after John Mew and his son Michael Mew.
Yeah. So we were both correct. You're correct in that mewing comes from this guy who is an orthodontist who was like, you can change your teeth health just by flexing your muscles and eating hard foods or whatever, or soft foods. It's one of the things. And then his son came through and was like, I changed my jaw shape by doing this. That's what happened. Based off the podcast that we listened to, what was called Search Engine. We should shout out the podcast.
We did listen to an episode of Search Engine. They were doing a deep dive on Mewing and Jawmaxxing. Look at that. What a life lived. Built a reproduction moated castle in a valley in Sussex. Just featured in the TV program Britain's Best Home.
Oh my gosh, that's not the one that I saw. There's a show that remember that show that I was really into for a while where it was a bunch of British homes. They're doing like renovations in British homes. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember. You were really into that.
I guess I technically still am, but I think it ran out of episodes. Do we trust someone who lives in a castle with a moat?
Well, let's see.
Do we trust someone?
So that's John Mew.
Yeah, that's John Mew.
Oh, hang on, let me...
Because he experimented on his kids. He was like, he had 2 boys and a girl, and he like made the girl only eat soft foods and the boys eat like hard foods.
Really?
Yeah, that was in the podcast.
I think I probably.
But then see, look at his jaw. So see how he has like the super strong jaw.
Yeah, he's got power jaw.
So that's why he came around, and then he was like, that's why he popularized Mewing, because he had a bunch of YouTube videos.
This is the jaw I had naturally until I started wearing a mouth guard.
This could be you. Look, that could be you now, and then that could be you in 6 months, and that could be you in 12 months.
But Mike Mew never looked like that.
Why didn't he pluralize it? Why 6 months?
0 month.
Is this written by the Mane and Tail copywriting team? Are we going to trust this guy? Come on, we're going to trust the guy who makes a thumbnail that goes 6 month, 12 month? This is him.
The before? Because you just told me that he was always power jaw.
Oh, I don't know what he looked like his whole life, but this is clearly this is an actual photo of him, and this is the photoshopped one, because that's how all the fitness guys do it too. You take the now photo and then you.
Is that how you do it?
Backwards. No, I don't do it because I don't try and deceive anyone with my findings. I encourage people to do their own research, including on this. If you're into Mewing and you figured out that it works for you.
I encourage people to talk to licensed professionals.
I do actually have this printed out, and it's on our fridge. Dr. Mew's guide.
It's goals.
So, oh, look at this. Shit, disgusting, hideous, attractive, desired by men and women.
Dr. Mew under attack.
Oh, what about this?
Oh.
This is you 0 month. This is you 12 month. You see the difference?
I had to take steps to actively reduce my jaw.
Too powerful. You cracked. Too
powerful.
Chestnuts. Oh boy, that's scary when he's. What is this? Is this Portuguese? Where's Lucas? Is this Portuguese? See, you don't want to be this. Hey everybody, if you're watching, you don't want to be this. You want to be this. That's what's right. I think everyone looks great. I think all kinds of face shapes look fine. Is this what you wanted to talk about?
No. Yes. Oh. Yeah.
It is?
It did.
Okay. All right.
Did. My hair. I want to talk about my hair.
Should I bring up mane and tail again?
Yeah, bring it up. Because I know a lot of people are asking me, did I dye my hair? No, this is my natural hair color. This is what it is. And something I thought might be of interest. Maybe it's not of interest to anyone.
No, you never know.
But for all of my teen and into my 20s, I always bleached my hair. I felt very much like bleached hair was my hair color. I had very, very bright blonde hair naturally until I was about 10. And I felt like, very much myself with like light bleach blonde hair. But then, you probably remember, maybe like circa 2013, I grew out my natural hair color. And when I started working at Funhouse, I had my natural hair color. So it was only fitting that when Funhouse ended, I had my natural hair color.
Bookends.
But yeah, last year I stopped coloring my hair because I thought I'm 38 years old and my hair's probably, at some point it's going to go gray. And it might be when I'm 45, but you never know, right? I'm like, it could be soon. It could be when I'm 45. It could be when I'm 50. Who knows?
I keep trying to scare you to get you so you can get the flash of
cool
gray.
Streak.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there are so few opportunities left to like grow it out and have my color before, because when it's gray, it's like, well, I can bleach it then if I want. And so I was like, sure, I guess I should just give it one last hurrah at least.
One last hurrah. But do you think you're going to bleach it again at some point?
When I'm gray?
When you start to go gray?
I don't know. I think when I'm gray, I think gray hair is just cool. So I'll just have gray hair. But yeah, people ask me, they're like, oh, you dyed your hair darker? It looks good. And I'm like, oh no, this is just it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's interesting. Maybe that's not interesting to people. I don't know. But I was just thinking about it because I was like, oh yes, at some point I'll have my natural hair color again, but then I thought, well, no, there's definitely a expiration date on that. So
Yeah.
why not? Just an interesting perspective.
It's my
maybe.
natural hair color too. I've never tampered with the color of my hair unless it's like temporary stuff.
I've dyed my hair dark brown,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess bleach blonde, and then various shades in between. You got a little bit of gray in your.
I have the Ra's al Ghul,
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it. I'm getting it like here, but I also can't grow out a beard with enough density that it really matters. And then I have a little bit here. But I don't care. I mean, where I'm at right now, and maybe this will change, I'm fine with growing older. I'm like curious to see what I will look like older, and I would feel like I'd feel grateful to have the opportunity to have grown older. That like I want to do what I like. Obviously, I exercise and I try and wear sunscreen and I moisturize and I do stuff like that. But I'm like, I don't ever want to feel like I'm clawing back the aging process. And again, it may change, and I don't begrudge anyone who feels differently or they want to do things. But I feel like for me, like I don't necessarily want to claw back against the aging process. I just want to see how healthy I can stay until ultimately the dementia sets in.
What? That was a weird roundabout way of getting there.
Uh-huh. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I guess so.
You know, I'm just saying, you age. You can't control how you age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that all you had for us to talk about?
No,
Didn't realize it was going to jar you so much.
Lies of P DLC.
Uh-huh.
See how that rhymes?
I guess so, yeah. I see.
Are you excited for it?
I am, but I want to know what it is, and I want to know when it's going to be out. Video games these days can say all the time that there is they're aiming for a certain quarter release date or whatever. Power Rangers, which I'm super excited about, I believe was initially listed as being like fall 2024. But it's coming out in December, right? It's coming out in like a week. Actually, it comes out in a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's fall for me feels like August, you know.
Yeah.
This is very, very much the end of fall. If it is, I don't know the exact date, but so I'll believe it when I get it. And yeah, the last thing we saw for the DLC, they were like, "Here's concept art for like the DLC."
For Lies of P.
For Lies of P, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that looks great." And then, but then I've been waiting a year, so.
They say Q1 2025.
I don't know, but is that financial Q1?
No details, but you're also assuming that it will tie into the end of
No.
Lies of P.
I don't
right?
think it's gonna. I don't think it's going to be. If you haven't played Lies of P, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But there's a post-credits scene that implies a much larger universe at play. I don't think, based on the concept art that they released, that it's going to be that. I think it's going to be. I think it's like Frankenstein, honestly. The stuff that they
That's
showed.
pretty cool.
The stuff that they showed was like a pirate ship and then a lab where like something is being made, but they also kind of already did Frankenstein in the base game because one of the bosses is like an old wrestler who gets infused with this like super energy and becomes like a zombie. So I'm not sure how they would handle it, but I think so.
So not what they
No,
teased.
I don't think it's I don't know if it is that, but it'd be cool if it is. But I would also be fine with them making a whole new game that handles that.
Yeah, well, it sounds like they are making another whole new game, sci-fi survival horror IP. That's coming. Are you excited about that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Is this the only thing that this studio has done? What did they do before Lies of P?
Round 8 Studio.
Yeah.
It might be that it was people coming from other studios who came together to...
Bless Unleashed.
Unleashed. Massive multiplayer online role-playing game.
Yeah. So, a free-to-play, which I don't know anything about. So, I mean, they did a great job with Liza P. I feel like they were pulling from a tried and true format. I talk with AJ about this a lot because he loves those Dark Souls games and From Software. And I do too, but I think that the format that they took was so good and they built on it so well that I don't know, like, are they going to do that again with a different format? Are they going to be like, oh, it's Dead Space, but we've changed everything that people never liked about Dead Space or something? I don't know.
Yeah, because you would think, like, with the engine they have and they've been able to develop this type of game, they wouldn't think, oh, let's do a completely different format. But who knows?
I don't know. Card Coda says, okay, Bless Unleashed was not good. So that's at least one.
That's just your
review.
opinion, man.
That's at least one negative review.
I don't know.
But no, I am excited. I'm very excited for it. I would like to play it and then give it to me because I probably haven't played a game yet this year that I feel like is better than Liza P was for me last year. I was so into that. It was hype.
You were.
It was hype. That's what they say. The kids say.
They say hype?
Yeah, it's a trend though, so it'll probably be gone soon.
Fad.
No, well, it's a trend.
You didn't say it was skibbity?
No, they said hype, not skibbity hype, which is different.
Speaking of being gone soon, a lot of people were skeeting at me about Muppet Vision 3D.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're not a Disney person, you might not be aware of Muppet Vision 3D, but it is basically the last thing before he died, the last big project that Jim Henson worked on, an attraction at Walt Disney World in Florida. And it's pretty charming. It until present has still existed there. And while it hasn't been updated and it does kind of feel a little bit out of date, it has all this reverence and love from Muppet fans because, you know, what it represents, and we don't get a ton of new Muppet stuff now. So Disney recently announced that they will be sunsetting Muppet Vision 3D. However, the Muppets are now getting Rock and Roller Coaster, which is an attraction at Hollywood Studios there.
Which you know I'm against. I feel
You're against. So currently it's Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster, and it feels really tonally very, very strange, but it still had this kind of cult following. And people were like, oh, this is so... And I am very much in the camp of... Disney has said they are going to preserve Muppet Vision 3D in some way, and my perfect version of that would be bring it to California Adventure Park here in Anaheim, update it a little bit, give it a little bit of a facelift, preserve it, truly preserve it. I don't know how Disney's going to do it, but they said they're going to make sure it still lives on in some way. I think the Muppet Rock and Roller Coaster is a really, really cool pairing.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's Dr. Teeth,
Dr.
right?
Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Yeah.
And especially coming off of the Muppets Electric Mayhem show, which was great. I think it's a really, really good marriage of the tone and excitement and theme of a rock and roller coaster, and then pairing that with the Muppets. So I'm excited because I always worry that Disney is just going to put the Muppets on some shelf in some back cupboard and forget about them forever. So I'm always excited and happy when Disney says, okay, let's do something new with the Muppets and let's, bring them into the 21st century in some way and make them feel like we're putting them on a pedestal. So we'll see, though. But you wanted to watch a ride through of Tiana's new ride that replaced that Splash Mountain ride. That's what you wanted to do?
No, I didn't want to do that.
I think that's what you wanted to do, right?
I didn't want to do that. I was going to say that I feel like I hope, because they have the Rock and Roller Coaster has the whole pre-show, right? With Ken Marino. And so I hope that they bring Ken Marino back for whatever they film to be the ride pre-show for the Muppets Mayhem one. That's what I'd do. Hey, Disney, if you're looking for someone to write and direct a cool Muppet thing for the pre-show, then oh, well, that's not going to work. No, that's not going to work.
This is what you wanted to watch, right?
No, I wasn't thinking about watching this, no.
This is what you wanted?
Nope. That's not what I was thinking.
This?
Nope. I just think I hope that they film something fun for the Muppets Mayhem coaster that also involves Ken Marino.
Oh yeah, that'd be
And
great.
and
they
think
asked me to do it.
We're not really at all talking nearly enough about the what they're going to do with Aerosmith. Because obviously they're changing Muppet Vision. Don't worry, we'll preserve the Muppets by moving them to the roller coaster. But where's Aerosmith going? Is my question. We haven't answered that.
I think this is not a question.
Maybe Aerosmith takes over Twilight Tower of Terror. So now it's Aerosmith Tower of Terror.
The terror will be there from Steven Tyler.
Love in an elevator. Go, love in an elevator. Giving it up as we're going down. And then you drop. I think that's good. But then where are we going to put Twilight Zone? Now we're going to move Twilight Zone to Avatar. Now we're going to put Avatar. We're going to do an Avatar somewhere. Here's what I think they should do. We got VR. I'm not really too into VR because it's still at the point where it makes me a little sick if I'm in it for too long. Mm-hmm. But I still love the idea of it. And I also, in 2020, I got really excited about that whole I don't play Minecraft, but the idea of the Minecraft Disney World that I went to several times and just rode rides. We need to cross those over. We have the power of the Unreal Engine, and we need to create virtual ride preservation. So you can basically walk through the queue of Muppet Vision and all the stuff is saved and embedded in it. And then you can basically sit in the park with other people online and do stuff. And then we get to the point beyond that where it becomes someone's job to place the characters. Because who is it who comes running out in Muppet Vision? What's his name?
Is it Scooter?
No. The big guy with the mouth.
Oh, Sweetums?
Sweetums comes out. You go, I'm a moderator of the Muppet Vision 3D VR ride, which means I play Sweetums. I come out and I go, rawr.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. So you're missing Tiana's
That's fine.
By
It's okay.
Adventure. You excited?
I think it looks good.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
As a kid, I loved Splash Mountain. Didn't understand the full context of it until a little bit later. And then once I did understand the full context of it, I thought it was hilarious that it was still a thing. Especially the point, every single time people got really tired of riding that ride with me because when you come around that corner and then Brer Rabbit's stuck in the honey, I go, it ain't honey in the movie.
That Disney, which is so particular about so many things, would just be like...
Yeah. But I think it's fine. I like the idea of updating these rides. I know people get really caught up about not...
People get precious
about it, but I think it's a cool way to not demolish something, but then use new technology to wind stuff up, and you're not necessarily always having to build new rides and stuff.
It's a weird, different form of lost media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Disney obviously is huge, but there's stuff like the old mill at the Cincinnati Wet Park or whatever, and you're like, that stuff is gone forever.
Yeah, it's the same way that we preserve buildings as historical landmarks now. It's for some people, they would say this is a historical landmark.
Yeah.
But
I do like the idea of preserving them with maybe VR or something fun like that. I think is cool.
That Disney doesn't have I guess the parks unto themselves are Disney museums, but Disney could they have so much. I don't know. They can make another.
We need to figure something out because I really like theme parks, but I don't go as much as an adult because it feels like post 2020 the density of these parks are way more than they've ever been, and it's just hard to. It's hard to want to go.
Prices have gone up so much too.
Even if you're yeah, I'm going to pay $250 for a day pass and I'm going to go on a Wednesday and I'm going to get there at 8 a.m. and then you ride 4 rides or whatever. I know that's the economy of it. I get it. I just don't. I don't know. It's tough. Anyway, it looks fun. And it looks like she's a frog for less of this ride than she is in the movie.
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about movies.
Yeah, sometimes.
That we've seen, and
almost
I'm sure
every time.
Everybody is saying, Elyse, James, talk about Wicked. talk about Gladiator 2.
We already talked about Wicked and Gladiator 2.
Well, we're not talking about...
Yeah, because we already did. They can go watch the last one.
Conclave.
Conclave was great.
Now, if you're like me, your only reference for Conclave, which is when a pope dies or steps down or whatever, and the cardinals have to go in sequester to pick a new pope, you might just have the book Angels and Demons by Dan Brown.
Yep.
But the movie Conclave, starring Ray Fiennes and Stanley Tucci.
Tooch comes back.
And who else is in it? John Lithgow, and it's a good cast. Isabella Rossellini.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mystery, kind of.
It's a thriller. I guess
it's a religious thriller.
It's a drama.
No,
I guess it's a drama. You don't have to define it more than that.
There's packing some mystery to it.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably not a universal crowd pleaser that people are going and watching, but it's a pretty interesting movie.
I think Ray Fiennes is really good. I think last time we talked about how to expect Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande to get nominations. I wouldn't be surprised if Ray Fiennes gets a nomination for this.
Best actor, yeah.
I think he's really good in it. One of the things that I've noticed about great acting maybe versus any other acting is like when you have to perform stoic, the difference between performing stoic and seeming indifferent is like it's minor in terms of performance, but there's a canyon between the two on screen as a viewer. And there's a lot of people who like try and portray stoic, but they come off as indifferent. And he's not exactly. For many scenes, he's reserved. He is stoic. There's a little bit more emotional outburst. We saw Rebel Ridge not too long ago, and I don't know that lead actor's name, but I thought he perfectly portrayed stoic. And that's just one of these things that I've like picked up on recently.
Aaron
Pierre is like perfectly stoic, which is like even though he doesn't have too much going on the surface, you can see through his performance something boiling through underneath, and that's how Ray Fiennes was for so much of it. And
yeah.
I really dug the movie, and like you said, it has the formatting of like a thriller with maybe twists and turns is exaggeration, but twists and turns, and the score is very tense.
It's interesting because there are points where you're afraid for Ray Fiennes. But
you were saying...
But their fear is unfounded because what could happen... There's not... I don't know.
No, anyway. Yeah. It's just a bunch of cardinals locked in a room together. A bunch of...
Yeah, I believe you can rent it from home now.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And also, if you think it's going to be some kind of glorification of the Catholic Church, it ain't. I mean, in some ways, it's a little bit...
No, I think it also reflects interesting on just the politics of the world right now.
Another movie we watched recently.
Oh boy, here we go.
Memoir of a Snail.
Yeah.
It's a claymation movie. I thought it was beautiful.
I loved it.
It's from the creator behind Mary and Max.
I didn't know anything about it. I thought it may have been about a snail, but it's great. I mean, like, it's different, obviously, because it's claymation, but it's also basically someone like retelling a story.
It's a life story.
And almost every single shot is just a visualization of that. Like, it feels like a picture book.
Because of the narration, yeah.
Yeah, it almost never shows you something that isn't also being described through the narration. And I kind of loved it. Like, it felt like sit down and let me tell you a story. And man, the details and the nuance and just like the layers of this one life that it essentially tells you all about, I'm like, oh, this must be like biographical or autobiographical. And I'm sure some of it might be, but the fact that it doesn't appear to entirely be someone just going like, this is my very unique story is crazy.
I'm hesitant to think it's autobiographical or biographical because it's from the guy that did Mary and Max.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine it's like an original story. Maybe it pulled from other people's lives or something.
For sure. But it creates such a well, like, rounded depiction of this character's life and the nuances and the joys and the sorrows of it. It was fantastic. I thought it was great. I loved it.
Austin Powers Goldmember, the best of the trilogy.
Well, there's some other movies we watched. We watched a lot of movies over the last course of the week.
Is it the best of the trilogy, James?
I don't think so. Sorry. I've talked about, I have a Letterboxd, which I sometimes post stuff to.
What is it?
I don't know. You have to find it. I'm not going to tell you. I think Austin Powers Goldmember is so juvenile. It's so juvenile. I think I described it to someone as the equivalent of going into an MMA fight with your eyes closed, just swinging your fists. Like, are you a good MMA fighter? No. Is there a chance you might get one of these wild swings through and then hit someone in the face and like really sting them? Yes.
It has Kevin Spacey in it.
It does have Kevin Spacey in it, but he says Kevin Spacey as evil. So they were trying to tell us they knew. So yeah, I think of all three movies, it probably has some moments that make me laugh the absolute hardest, but it's because they're
You were laughing pretty hard.
So immature and so juvenile. But the rest of the movie is just self-referential. Like, there's barely a plot. There's whole scenes where characters like enter a room to achieve something, get distracted, like say with a water fountain, and then the scene ends and you're like, wait, why did they go in that room at all? But some of the stuff is just fantastic. I think I've come to the conclusion that that the original Austin Powers is the best movie. But this one was just...
Michael Caine's in it?
Look at his teeth.
Are those aren't his teeth?
No, it looks like he's wearing fake teeth.
But this is a young Michael Caine by today's standards.
Yeah, that was a weird thing too. But yeah.
This, I think, is the woman from the judge from So You Think You Can Dance.
You mean Fook Me and Fook You?
Yeah, I don't know which one she played, but Dr. Evil, they do a great Hannibal Lecter bit.
What is the song? What is the song that they sing? They do raps. Oh, Hard Knock Life.
Hard Knock Life, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There it is.
He and Mini-Me do like a Foxy Cleopatra, Beyonce. Not her strongest performance.
It was like her first acting thing, right?
Kinda, yeah.
She did this and then like Dreamgirls.
She looks amazing in the movie. I couldn't tell for a second if that was John Travolta's cameo.
Yeah.
He disappears into the cameo of Goldmember in the movie within the movie.
This is what I'm talking about with stoicism, playing stoicism well. I was confused. I want to ask the chat, because I was confused rewatching it. So, present day Austin Powers has issues with his father. His father didn't show up to...
Daddy wasn't there.
He sings Daddy wasn't there because his father didn't show up to his knighting. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, oh, my father, he didn't, like, he doesn't care about me. Daddy doesn't care. And he sings the whole song. Turns out that what happened was they went through time and kidnapped him and took him and was keeping him hostage, technically not so hostage because he was surrounded by beautiful women, with in the back of Goldmember's club, right? And then they go back forward, they bring him back forward through time, but Austin Powers was in his late 20s, early 30s in the 60s before he was frozen and then went forward to the late 90s to the 2000s, where I think this one's like 2003, right? So how old is he supposed to be in this movie? She's messing with the stuff. She's not listening. How old is Michael Caine, Austin Powers' dad, supposed to be in this movie? Because if he was Austin Powers' dad, who was in his 30s in the 60s, he would have to be like 100 years old. I don't understand.
Maybe he's frozen too, maybe.
I don't think he was, and I feel like he was. They would have to explain that.
Think about Think about the life circumstances that had to occur for all of these people to end up in a room together. Robert Wagner, Beyonce, Vern Troyer, Mike Myers, Michael Caine. Think about that.
It didn't take much. All it took was 2 successful Austin Powers movies.
Think about that. Think about that. Oh,
wait, hold on. What's this?
What a double feature.
Goldmember and Dumb and Dumberer.
They come out the same year?
Dumb and Dumberer is unfortunately a better title than the title of the second Dumb and Dumber movie
2.
that came out.
The guy that played young Austin Powers did a pretty good
job. Pretty good job. Whatever happened to him? It's just showing scenes. It's just pulled stills from anywhere. Look at those melons.
This is a Naked Gun joke. Right?
Only a...
like when he's going in the grocery store and he
when he
grabs
goes shopping,
her boob, right?
He just squeezes the melons, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Steven Spielberg had a cameo in it.
Everyone's in it. That opening sequence is all just referencing Austin Powers. That's the thing. Not a good movie. There, I said it.
It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun.
We also, go back. One more. This whole scene is a scene where Austin Powers is sneaking somewhere, and he has to hide behind this statue that he trips over the wire, so then he urinates to make it seem like the statue is still working, and then it just spirals out from there.
And you were laughing pretty hard, probably.
I was laughing pretty hard, but it has nothing to do with anything. It's just an aside. Stop saying I love gold in chat. All right, what else? All you did was prompt me so that way I would start ranting about this.
You didn't even ask me how I felt about...
You were too busy clicking through. Tell me about... I know how you feel about Goldmember. I know you love it. What are you looking for more?
Okay.
Okay, this is a new thing that you're talking about? Well, tell me about Goldmember first.
I love it. I saw it in theaters.
I love Goldmember.
And I know it was pretty maligned at the time. It didn't get a good critical response. Even audiences were fatigued on Austin Powers, didn't enjoy it. My friend Catherine and I were rolling in our seats. We were hooting and hollering when he pulled out the skin box and a smoke and a pancake. We were dying. We thought it was the funniest thing, and I feel very validated that now in 2024, people love Goldmember.
Well, hold on.
I feel very,
I don't
very
think that's the
vindicated,
consensus.
Validated.
Well, and Cashbone, to be clear, I'm describing scenes that I also think are funny, but they're not integrated into the film in any meaningful way. It's just like, it just happens, and then they go back to whatever they were doing before.
Something it's affecting all of us.
Okay.
This is, just one final thought. You go into the grocery stores now. You go into Target.
We saw a Target that was in the process of locking everything up.
They're putting in all of these. I don't think they're glass. I think it's like a polycarbonate or plastic
I break through it.
case.
I smashed through it.
That they're locking up
everything.
Your toothpaste, your deodorant, your shampoo.
It used to just be diapers and children's medicine.
And children's formula. But they're locking up all of these toiletries and
everything
things.
is getting locked up.
Yeah, like everything is locked up, and it's interesting and it's concerning, and I feel like these stores are already so understaffed that the idea of you need additional staff to constantly be unlocking these. And Hannah just said, if I walk into a store and shit is locked up, I'm turning around and leaving. This is another concern that is being discussed right now, and part of this discourse of locking everything up, which is the user experience of being a consumer and going into a store. This is horrible.
Yeah.
This is awful. And I'm curious on the subject of trends, if this will be a trend. If this is something that we will see introduced, and then we will see stores saying this is actually not a good thing, and they will roll it back.
This is my nihilistic. I'm not saying this is the case, and I'm not trying to preach to anyone or send warning flags up, but this is my nihilistic perspective on this. We're currently in late stage capitalism. I think there's a world where they don't care if this reduces retail traffic, because if the retail traffic reduces, then ultimately the executives can make decisions to lay off more staff at those branches, and it will require less human maintenance there. And then ultimately these things that we have as retail space just become storage for online delivery warehouses, which they can automate and basically eliminate the labor pool that's associated with retail. That's my nihilistic perspective. I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
No, I think that's a fair perspective.
I think all the people that are going I wouldn't shop at a store like that, I think that is a consideration that a lot of these corporate executives have made, and they said, well, if people stop shopping there, then we'll close the store. We'll lay off all the employees and we'll close the store, and then we don't have to.
Interesting, a lot of the shrink and theft that's happening is not necessarily the random person going and stealing something. It's happening from within. So it's not even it's theft that's happening on the store floors. It's a person working for the company steals it from a box from the stock room or something.
Yeah.
So a lot of this missing inventory, it's unclear whether it's even missing before it reaches the shelf or not.
Yeah.
Or it's these just these mass grab things where it's not one person stealing a random bottle of shampoo.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Somebody going in and they are just swiping a bunch of stuff. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's one of in the subject of trends. I'm curious if this will be rolled back. And as 00711 says, mane and tail would never.
They don't get to choose. Mane and tail goes, listen, if you're going to put us in your store, you have to make sure that we're not loked behind glorse. I go, I don't know what this means, and they just put it there.
Well, I think we'll go to Target and we'll see everything in this glass case except for mane and tail, because mane and tail, they say this is a family business.
Yeah.
We're in the second generation. We don't trust the consumer.
It's a famil business.
It's a famil business.
We're a famil here at Mane and Tail. Hey, listen up. Here at Mane and Tail, we're a famil business. I'll tell you that much.
They're Matthew McConaughey?
When Steven Soderbergh and I got together and we decided we were going to do Mane and Tail, we figured, if it's good enough for a horse, it's good enough for me. Right, Coop?
Coop.
I'm Coop.
Well, that's it.
That's all the topics?
That's all I got.
We didn't even talk about Twilight, a movie you and I saw for the first time.
Save it for next time.
Anyway, sorry to end on a low note. Hey, let's show you Tiana's ride again.
There's no time, James. We have to go try to haggle for a mattress.
That is true. Did you know the markup on mattresses is so high you can haggle for a mattress?
They know.
Don't let them tell you can't. Prepare to walk away and you'll be shocked at how much they're going to give you that mattress for. That's what we're going to find out today. Do we need a mattress? I don't know. We might not. But are we going to haggle our way to see how low we can get them? Yeah, because that's what I love to do.
You do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, maybe we talk about Twilight next time.
Maybe. I don't even know if I want to.
All right. So mattress, mane and tail.
Yeah.
And the skin box. I got to get the skin box.
He eats that skin too, the one he pulls off. The first one, he tries to eat it, but then they put it in the skin box. But then the other one, he does get.
I just worry with the skin box, the skin would disintegrate very quickly.
Oh, you have to. It's very soft inside the skin box.
Well, is it? It's like a hyperbaric skin box.
It's a hyperbolic time chamber in there, so they're training. Sparking Zero streams in the future. I don't own the game. I did watch the. Oh, if I brought a topic to you, it would be maybe I can. We'll do one last topic real quick.
No.
Then we have to go. The
I gotta
fighting game. There's a fighting game Sparking
time.
Zero tournament, Elyse, and it ended in disaster. The Sparking Zero is the new Dragon Ball Z game or whatever. It ended in disaster when the two finalists just flew up and down for 10 minutes straight. Oh, God, these ads. I hate these ads.
I don't even know how you close that one.
Ads everywhere.
Jeez.
I feel like we're also killing websites by just like...
I was reading an interesting think piece the other day on the death of the personal website, and it made me really want to just like make a website where I would post like I still really appreciate those websites that feel very homegrown. Like Messy Nessie Chic is one of my favorite sites to go to. Could you just bring it up and...
Sure. It's just like, but like, look at this ad. Like, what is it doing here? Why is it loaded in here? And the ones that, like, as you're scrolling, like, they move the page. Anyway, I'm an old man, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What am I doing? Messy Chic?
No,
Can I show you this Dragon Ball final?
Yeah, show us the Dragon Ball final. Will it play?
Yeah, click. So this is the finals.
Close that ad?
This is the finals of the match. The two best players
in the world.
It's not how the game's supposed to look. But one...
And it says here the commentators just gave up on commenting.
Yeah, they at a certain point they're like, oh, he looks like he's evading. And then they just stop talking. And then eventually they just cut away because the person playing as the android, which is the one in our perspective in the foreground...
They're cheesing it.
Apparently they can fly without affecting their ki, which is a resource other characters need to manage. And so they hit them once at the beginning of the fight and then decided to evade for the entire rest of the match, which is, I guess, relatively easy. But the problem is because of the match rules, it was set to 666 seconds. So about 10 minutes. So they did this for 10 minutes. The two best players in the world. That's it. That's all I got.
So I wonder if the next time they do this tournament, they'll change gameplay rules.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, because they were saying like Smash Brothers went through similar things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they were like, oh, what works and what doesn't work or whatever. But it's still funny to think about like this now for the finals, and then they're like, let's just cut away. Come back in 10 minutes when it's over.
So here says, I think the diminishing returns of social media are driving the resurgence of personal websites, which is really interesting and a cyclical thing to think about, because the rise of social media, I think, is what, I mean, this is not really that controversial for me to say, and this is not an original thought I had, it's kind of the truth, but like social media meant you didn't need to have a personal website because you've got your Facebook page or you have your Instagram page. And I do agree that like the quality has gone down, and now we're like, okay, what we want to go back to this feeling of, and like again, like, so this is one of my favorite websites.
I can see why you're the main headline there.
So
scroll down a little bit.
Messy Nessie Chic is like a website that's an aggregate of, you know, just interesting things found on the internet.
That's great.
And one of my favorite that happens is 13 Things I Found on the Internet Today. And so there's 700 of this that you can go through and look at, like, and it's just this person who's curating all these cool, and it's mostly very, very like artistic, and
it was the golden age. It's a throwback to the golden age of the internet.
Yeah, and I'm so appreciative this still exists. You know, like I love it.
There's one ad at the bottom that's out of the way.
Yeah,
and
we can even
not audio. Uh-oh. They replaced it with another ad.
But yeah, I really, really like it a lot. Buying a gift in New York was a contact sport. But yeah, it is one of those things where I really wish, because it used to be this sort of thing where every day I would go to my websites. Your list of bookmark websites, and this is where you go.
What would Tyler Durden do? Film drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop URLs. I loved Pop URLs, which was an aggregator of all kinds of stuff. But
yeah, I wonder with Blue Sky and your ability to attach your domain to your handle, if that will also encourage any sort of resurgence. I don't know the technical side of it, but like if you're associated with your website and it encourages you to have a website, even if it's just like, you know, a lot of people are doing like link trees and stuff like that. Even if it might encourage people to be like, well, I can just have my Substack or whatever it is on my website and then go back to it. That's maybe wishful thinking. Yeah. And I'm not trying to pull the present back into the past that I love so dearly. That's the last thing I'd ever want to do as part of my generation. But
Cracked
is great. You remember the cracked caption? Photo captions?
It was the Craption contest, first of all. Okay. You're getting it twisted.
Okay, well, I couldn't have gotten it too twisted because I got #1 caption twice.
And I was an editor's choice once.
Yeah.
Which I think says so much more.
It's not really the same as being #1 caption.
Anyway, thank you all for hanging out.
This is something we did a long time ago where we would log in every single day and then try and come up with a caption really fast. She told me about it, and then after a couple weeks of doing it every single day, I got #1 caption. Funny guy. Funny guy. Hey, let's see Tiana's Ride again.
Let us know if you get a mattress.
You can haggle it down. Basically, anything is on the table, okay? Let me tell you that much. No, thanks for hanging out. This would only happen because Elyse said, let's do it.
Yeah,
so
I wanted to talk about Jawmaxxing.
You can thank Elyse for wanting to talk about Jawmaxxing. And
Isla just messaged me that they got an espresso machine, and she said, I had a cup of coffee, my first ever cup of coffee.
Wow.
She's 39 years old.
Well.
Which is interesting. I mean, I don't knock her because I don't drink coffee myself.
Yeah.
But to make it 39 years without drinking coffee. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've made it 40, so.
You never had a cup of coffee?
Mm-mm. I mean, I've tasted coffee, but I've never, I don't think I've ever sipped coffee from a mug or anything. I've had, coffee flavored things or something, but I've never been like, take a sip of this coffee.
Would you ever drink coffee with Sam Lake? You know, he does that thing where he drinks coffee with people.
Yeah, I would do it as a social thing. I'm not like, I'll never drink coffee, but I just, I got to the point where I don't need to, have that caffeine hit in the morning. That's it. That's me in a nutshell. Went to the dentist last week.
No
cavities.
Needs to know.
I've also never had a cavity. But I'm at the point where, 40 years, never had a cavity. Yeah. So if I do have one now, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It happens.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to do your mewing. Get your mews in. You got to Jawmax yourself. Get your mews in. Pick up the mane and tail from the store before it gets locked behind plexiglass. And throw on your VR headset. Go through Tiana's Ride.
Watch Goldmember.
While watching Goldmember in your VR late stage capitalist home. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye. When's next time? What do you got for us to talk about next time? Man. You better figure it out.